Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Brandon Middleton. I am the founder, CEO, visionary, strategist, and lead entrepreneur of NOVAEO. NOVAEO is a collective of entrepreneurs all operating as a team for an entire ecosystem of businesses that essentially are all bolted together in a way to be able to achieve bigger and higher scale value and vision. And so Leiluna Labs, the business that you are applying for, is our supply chain and manufacturing arm for all of our various product brands that we own and manage. And so currently we are in the dietary supplements, personal care, skincare, hair care, these kinds of cosmetic products, and other health and wellness products. And we primarily sell on Amazon, but have Shopify stores and TikTok and others as well. And so our primary manufacturing facility in Tampa, Florida, is what we are currently seeking new leadership for. And so for the right individual, or possibly two individuals, this is a massive, massive, massive opportunity. And I mean that genuinely, because essentially what we're doing is we are recreating a business that I had started 15 years ago. Well, 25 years old. It was my first legitimate business. And I built it up over a few years and exited at a value of a few million. And so we are recreating that same business 15 years later, which means now we have significantly more wisdom, more financial capital for investment and faster scale, and significantly more progressed technology to make things more efficient, more effective, optimized. I have started a entrepreneur community and mastermind in which I build a community for other entrepreneurs to come and network, learn from each other, and grow together, and ultimately create pretty massive business deals with each other, as well as the entrepreneur curious or junior entrepreneurs to come and learn how to become entrepreneurs, how to get started, and how to scale. And that is a bit of an underground, a very exclusive, invite-only community. And I'm bringing this up because the other way to join this community and essentially become an entrepreneur is to join the NOVAEO ecosystem and learn directly from me or one of the other entrepreneurs to grow and scale in our collective entrepreneur endeavors, which gives you direct connection to me and the others without the subscription cost of the mastermind. And so when I say that this is a huge, huge opportunity, I really mean it. Going back to why this is such an exciting opportunity is I'm hoping to find someone or someones that will become my business partner. So the income model is going to start off with an hourly wage, but with pre-approved overtime all the way up to 70 hours per week. It's a lot of hours. When I started my first business, essentially this business, I worked way more than that. But you will be pre-approved for up to 70 hours. If you want to work more, overtime is, of course, at 1.5 times the normal rate. Trump's new tax law, no tax on overtime, will be pretty significant for this. I'm looking at a table right now. So if someone were to be getting paid, say, $17 an hour and working 40 hours a week, that would calculate to about $35,000 a year. But if that individual were to work 70 hours a week with our overtime, that would be over $75,000 a year. And a lot of that $75,000 is not going to be taxed. But going up to, let's say, $22 an hour, that would be about $45,000 a year at 40 hours a week, but just shy of $100,000 a year at 70. And again, with a significant amount of that not being taxed. And so the idea is that we're expecting to find one, maybe two people that are going to really bust their ass, going to work hard and put in a lot for first 3 months, first perhaps 6 months, because you will be both doing the work, the same work that everybody else is doing, even our warehouse associates, but also learning and also doing the work that the leadership will do. And so that's going to take a lot of hours. Additionally, with income, so as I mentioned, we'll be starting you on a wage with guaranteed overtime. You can expect frequent but small raises on that wage. You might get your first raise within the first month. And those raises, even as small, 25 cents, 75 cents, whatever, will obviously compound on each other and are much more significant with the 1.5x overtime. And so in time, and honestly, this timeline is entirely up to you, but maybe it's 6 months, let's say 3 to 9 months. Again, it depends on you. We intend to transition you from an hourly wage with the overtime to a fixed salary, with the salary being roughly equal, maybe a little bit more than the income that you have been earning with the wage plus the overtime. However, you would be at this point scaling back your hours a little bit, not needing to work as many hours to make the same income. And then from there, we'd be providing a profit share system. From then forward, as the business grows in terms of profitability, so will your income. The income plateau does not exist. Once you're on a profit share, there is no cap. If this business is producing 5 million, 10 million a year, and you're getting 3%, 5% of monthly profits, you can do the math. There is no cap. It is one of our core values in NOVAEO as a whole to embrace meritocracy. You reap what you sow. The value that you create, and perhaps at that time, or perhaps a little bit more in the future, we will also be putting together an equity path. And this is, what do you need to do? What does the business need to do? What does it need to achieve in terms of high-level goals in order for you to become my business partner and be an equity holding operating partner of Leiluna Labs? It is one of our core values in NOVAEO as a whole to embrace meritocracy. You reap what you sow. The value that you create and the value that others in our ecosystem, in our team create, a percentage that goes to each of us as the individual who created it. A percentage of that gets shared with everyone else, just like you will receive a percentage of what others create. And then a large percentage gets invested back into the ecosystem for growth. Some of that being invested directly back into your business, Leiluna Labs, and some of that being invested back into the ecosystem as a whole, whether it's other businesses that we have that are fast growing or the launching of new businesses. So when I speak of all these businesses, Leiluna Labs is our supply chain manufacturing. We have something like around 10, maybe close to a dozen different product brands, whether they're dietary supplements or skincare or whatever. We have multiple marketing agencies, customer service agency. We have a recruiting agency. We have all these different support businesses and agencies for e-commerce and for product brands. And we're scaling more and more to the point where we'll eventually even be getting into other industries and other markets, which also means that as time goes on, you may want to learn other skills. You might want to lead other businesses. You might want to start your own businesses. And so the opportunity exists in NOVAEO to where you can do that inside of the NOVAEO ecosystem, which will make things facilitated and there'll be more resources for scale. Our recent leadership for Leiluna Labs has unexpectedly departed due to some very unfortunate family emergencies. And so we are very quickly looking to recruit new leadership. It is my way in that I seek not necessarily people with significant experience or credentials or certification, college degrees, etc. And instead, I look for inherent personality characteristics, personal values, very hardworking, with a mindset of work comes first, the input, the effort, the stress comes first, the reward comes later. And because of that sacrifice, that upfront investment, the reward is significantly greater than those that seek a normal wage or salary career. You are the type of leader that if you were in the Army, you would be the first person across enemy lines and the last person to come home. That's the type of leader that you need to be a successful Leiluna Labs leader and my business partner, because that's who I am. And that's how I started the first business with just $300 was all I had as a broke 25-year-old, and built that very quickly to several million in just a few years. And specifically with this business, it's one that I've already proven the model. I already know all the systems, all the strategies, all the plans, and it will be very easy for me to imbue that in you so long as you have these personal characteristics and values: hardworking, critical thinking. You will be learning by communicating with me and with Derek, and you will also be learning by doing, especially learning by doing. You will also be learning by solving your own problems. Every day, there will be some kind of problem or scenario that was not foreseen that you will have to respond to. And sometimes there's a by the book solution, and sometimes there's not. And even when there is, sometimes the creative solution is the better solution. Anything can happen. And so the right person is someone that is able to problem solve, to think critically, to think quickly, propose solution, and execute. The less you need me for problem solving, the less you need Derek, the more value you're bringing to the table. But not to be fearful of feeling like you're left alone, because that won't be the case. The expectation is just over time, you become more and more autonomous. And along those lines, what we're also looking for is someone that is an excellent communicator, because I will not be present at the facility. Derek, our COO, no longer lives in Tampa. Aside from occasional visits for a few days or a week, he will not be present at the facility. And so the communication, the interaction between you and the rest of the team that is remote will be through various online communications: Google Chat, Google Meet, recorded videos, recorded audios, and in the near future, a significant infusion of AI, artificial intelligence. The right person is going to have an interest and a curiosity for the rampantly progressing AI technology. Not that you need to be someone that knows how to code or write software, but someone that understands that AI and technology is the future. And so as we problem solve, and as we build systems, and as we evolve old systems, we're doing so in alignment with this understanding that the technology is the future. So a quick example of that is that we are soon going to be testing some team members at the warehouse wearing AI smart glasses that have camera, microphone, and a speaker built into them, so that the remote team, such as myself, as well as our artificial intelligence agents, our AI agents that we've been building, which have human-like personalities but are online, are all connected to that individual and can see what they see. And so it can speak in real time to the remote team, to the agents, to get recordings, to get photos, and live streaming for things such as making sure that we pick the right materials off of a shelf when we stage materials getting ready for production. We have numerous materials that sound very similar to each other. For example, we have L-carnitine hydrochloride, L-carnitine titrate, creatine monohydrate, creatine hydrochloride, creatine ethyl ester, creatine HMB, creatine alpha ketoglutarate, creatine gluconate. Got to make sure that you pick the right creatine or the right carnitine. And it's easy to make these mistakes. No matter how intelligent you are or any of our team members are, these are easy mistakes to make. But if wearing the glasses, when the individual looks at the signs or at the labels, well, the remote team or our AI agents will see what they see. Our AI agent can say, oh, no, that's not the right material. The type of leader that we're looking for right now is someone that leads by example. We expect for you, especially during your first few months, to be in the production line, to be doing the quality checks, to be doing all of the tasking that everybody else does, because you will be setting an example. You will be setting the pace of how fast we work. You'll be setting the example of acceptable quality errors. Mistakes always happen, so we have to build a tolerance for what's allowed. And you will be setting that example. You will be paying close attention to the emotion, the morale of the team. When things get a little slow, a little sluggish, perhaps a little depressed. Maybe we've had some bad news. Maybe there was a shipment that we received that was destroyed and we're not able to use those materials, and then that forces us to stock out. And when we stock out, we lose a lot of value. These are things that are out of our hands, but that is just the nature of business. And that can be demoralizing. You have to be the one that's emotionally grounded and uplifts the team to look ahead, even when problems out of our control arise. Another personal value and characteristic that I'm looking for is someone that's going to have a strong sense of pride. Pride in the individual work that you do, pride in your effort, pride in the manufacturing facility as a whole, pride in your team, especially as a leader of the team. And also to be extremely proud of the products that we produce, the products that we create, proud to show them to your friends and family, proud of the customer and client experience that they have with the product after they've paid money for it. This is not a normal team. There's nothing normal about anything that we do. It's creative, it's personable, it's casual, but also we get shit done. You don't have to put on a corporate mask to show up to work. You can be who you are. Yes, you will be able to get tons and tons of free products, of which we have something close to around 100 of right now, and we're always creating more. So ideally, you have an interest in these markets and you're a customer in these markets so that you'll have a little bit of knowledge already about the products and maybe even some ideas about new products that we could create. In time, you'll learn more about the other aspects of the business just because you're going to be engaging with other team members, the marketing, the accounting, sales, etc. And so the experience that we're looking for, ideally, depends on two different paths that we're currently recruiting. Now, it's possible that we get one individual that can cover the responsibilities of both paths. But because of the urgency in which we need to recruit, onboard, and train, we are going to be looking for two individuals, one focused in one path, one focused in another path. But again, it's possible that the individual that we recruit is able to cover both pathways. And it's very likely that we'll find the first individual, and it might take a little bit more time to find a second one. And so that first individual, which might be you, will have that amount of time to communicate to us if you prefer to have all the responsibility, which also means more opportunity to create value. And the more value you create, the more value you receive. But it's not a requirement. We're perfectly willing to recruit two individuals for two separate paths. Those two paths are warehouse operations. So being that we are a manufacturing facility that would be heavily focused on production, we have powder filling and liquid filling. It's very simple at this point in time. We have very simple machinery, semi-automatic. As the years go by, we'll certainly scale. Other warehouse operations would include basic inventory management, order fulfillment, receiving, dispatch, and general warehouse layout and organization, because as we grow, as we scale, we'll be needing to change the arrangement, the organization of our racks, of our materials, based on the efficiency of our team members walking to do various things like pick inventory or pull material. And so what we're also looking for in at least one of the individuals is someone that we are confident would be able to troubleshoot machines as they get finicky or break and set up the new machines as we intend to scale, either in volume or in types of materials, types of products. Now, I'm not saying that we need to hire a robotics technician. I'm just saying someone that has innate or inherent mechanical abilities can look at something and understand, generally speaking, what is mechanically wrong with the machine and understands a little bit of, okay, well, therefore, what do we need? Also, someone that would inherently think to work with AI, to have AI on camera, looking at what you're looking at, running the machine, showing what's broken, et cetera, and working with the AI to help diagnose and troubleshoot and fix the machine. Or if that doesn't work, to then communicate directly to our suppliers of the machine in a similar way so that they can, those who built the machine are familiar and can help diagnose the problem. Or along those lines, our HVAC system, we have a very, very nice, very, very expensive commercial HVAC system. We have one specifically for our production room. That's a highly regulated, very clean, very sterile room. And this thing is always breaking. It's only a couple years old. It's always breaking. And so ideally, we have someone that just understands basic mechanics, not talking about needing to be an HVAC expert, but understanding the basics. So we don't have to call a repair guy, which is always a minimum of $350 every time something goes wrong, like just needing to change a filter. The other path is quality control, quality assurance, quality technician, and compliance, as well as formulation. Compliance is adherence to the various governing bodies that our markets must adhere to based on the Code of Federal Regulations, CFRs. And so primarily that's the FDA for dietary supplements, cosmetics, and foods. These are 3 different categories. In the near future, we would like to get into OTC drugs, that's over-the-counter drugs. These would be like acne products, sunscreen, things like this. And so for that pathway, it would be very ideal that we have someone that does have experience working in a regulated industry. And the closer to our industry, the better. And the closer to our operation, the better. Meaning someone that has experience working in a regulated industry doing manufacturing would be better than someone that worked in, say, like a financial industry that's regulated. And someone that worked in foods, dietary supplements, cosmetics, but also, let's say, pharmaceuticals would be more preferable over someone that worked in regulated manufacturing, but perhaps was medical devices. But all the experience is valued. Similarly, quality control would also be very much valued in this path. So if you come from a background that had to adhere to strict quality control standards, even better, if you wrote those standards, created those standards, trained people on those standards, all that would be even better, but not required. The preference is that we find someone that has worked within quality control standards and perhaps even had a role in being responsible for the outputs of a production line in terms of quality control. Now, on the formulation side, we have no need for experience, only interest and curiosity in formulation, because the formulations are not going to be very sophisticated. And believe it or not, AI is able to teach us so much about formulations, such as if we need to establish a preservative system, we can use AI to help guide us through a preservative system. And we send out our formulations for lab testing and determine if there's microbials. And if not, then we know that the preservative system is working. So a formulation example would be taking one of our top sellers, which is stevia liquid, or another top seller, monk fruit liquid. These are healthy, 0-calorie sweeteners. And we want to start introducing a line of flavors. So we would take the pre-established formulas that we have that are unflavored and buy various flavoring extracts from different suppliers and start experimenting, just benchtop experimenting. And we keep on experimenting until we find some formulas that a formulator really enjoys, and then asks whoever of our team wants to try them, friends and family, until we land on a formula. It's not that sophisticated. It just takes interest and curiosity. But I don't want to overdo the formulations because we're not there yet. All of the systems, quality, compliance, all operations, all the systems have already been conceptualized. Most of them have been written and created. We are not needing someone to come in and rewrite systems. If you do have experience, perhaps you are someone that would be prepared to come in and lead a manufacturing facility without any training. Well, even in that case, we're still going to want you to adhere to our systems. And the reason is because Leiluna Labs is a very valuable, very important entity, but nonetheless is an entity, a part of a bigger system. And so it's important that we operate in a way that allows all of our different business entities to operate both individually as their own entity, their own income stream, but also together in harmony. And so the expectation would be for us to train you on our systems over your first 3 to perhaps 9 months. It really depends on you. And as we build that momentum, and really the key word is autonomy. Autonomy from my perspective and from Derek's perspective, in that Leiluna Labs is fully, at least the operations are fully under control by you and perhaps your co-pilot. Well, once we establish this autonomy, we have the momentum, we have quality under control, we have efficiency under control, we'll then be focusing on scale, being able to increase our daily capacity of what we produce, but also, and that might require more people, different systems, and very likely new machinery, but also to increase our scale in terms of the types of products that we can produce. So right now, we can do consumable and topical or spray liquids and single ingredient powders. Single ingredient powders because we do not have the machinery to mix powders together, which also means we cannot do stick packs or capsules or tablets. So we just do single ingredient powders where we buy powder in bulk, like a 55-pound drum, and break that down into consumer sizes. But as we progress, we want to get machinery that allows for us to homogenize or blend powders, and then machinery that allows us to do capsules. And so I want to make sure that it's well understood what your first week, what your first month is going to look like. It'll be a little bit chaotic. You're going to be getting trained by the few team members that are currently there that have some general idea of how to execute the various operations. And you'll be getting trained through myself or Derek. And when I say remote team, we have other people that are involved daily in the operations, in the systems and strategy. And they do so through what we call the MTS, the mobile tablet station. So kind of funny, but it's awesome. We have a tablet. Actually, we have a couple of these stations, tablets, like an iPad, cheaper, on a tripod. The tripod is on wheels, and then there's a little tray beneath the tablet where we put better microphone, speakers, battery packs, etc., so that we can wheel those around. And we have a remote team that is in a Google Meet, like a Zoom, during the entire day. So it's as though they have a mobile office at the facility with an open door policy so that any of our team members can walk up and start talking to them. And we do have some cameras around the facility, not in a way that's like Big Brother, if you know that reference. It's because we have a team member currently living in the Philippines that is an industrial engineer that is able to look at everything going on and use his industrial engineering brain to help us optimize our production lines, our layouts, etc. And so you would be interfacing with Carlos, with Alexa, for a good amount of the day, each day, through the mobile tablet stations. And they will also be available and a significant part of your training and onboarding. And we have a general rule, a rule of thumb, that if something at the warehouse can be done remotely, so it's a task that the warehouse needs done, Leiluna Labs needs done, but it doesn't have to be done physically in the facility. So if something can be done remotely, then it ought to be done remotely. And so a lot of our systems are much different than the way other warehouses and other manufacturing facilities operate because of our leverage of technology and this rule of thumb of having remote team members that are capable of doing a significant amount of the work, especially when we apply creative, critical thinking to our strategy and our planning. In regards to technology and AI, understand that my COO, Derek, who's also been my best friend for decades now, Derek is incredibly passionate and extremely talented with regards to engineering in general, but especially artificial intelligence. In fact, one of the greatest values that you can provide to him is to take over any tasking that he's currently doing with Leiluna Labs so that he can spend more time learning and building with AI. He loves it. And so understand that in any opportunity there is to bring AI into Leiluna Labs, Derek is going to be there building the tool, building the system, creating the training, and implementing. We'll also be creating a lot of unique and fun incentive systems. So, for example, something that I would like to get implemented soon is to find a local private chef that will batch cook meals for our warehouse team and put those meals in individual sized Tupperware and deliver them twice a week to the warehouse so that we can put these in our freezer and so that our team each day can just come in the morning and take one out, put their name on it. And so it'll start thawing over the next few hours. And then when it comes time for lunch, they can put it in the microwave or the little oven, or the air fryer, and have a nice, healthy, free meal. And in time, we can build up a massive selection or menu of these meals. So this is an incentive that what we'll do is we will create a team goal that once the whole team hits this goal, maybe it's output for the week or for the month in terms of total units produced. Maybe it's a quality metric. Maybe it's both. But once we hit that, we'll start doing these free, healthy meals. That's the kind of thinking that we will always have, as morale is extremely important, and a focus on the quality of life of our team members is extremely important. And the more that we can help guide people towards a healthy lifestyle, the better. We are a health products business after all. And perhaps you have a best friend that you would like to be your co-pilot. I am presenting an opportunity for you to bring to the table another individual that you would be building Leiluna Labs with. And so if you do have someone in mind, please share. And the more valuable of a person that person is, the more value you are being credited with bringing to our NOVAEO ecosystem. The team size, we intend to always keep very small. So anywhere from just 4 people to maybe 8, possibly 9 people plus leadership. The only possibility we would have in having more than that is once we get to a point where we're trying to have maybe like 24/7 operations. So we would obviously need more people in all the different shifts, but it's important to try to keep as small of a team as possible, because the smaller the team, the easier it is to maintain cohesiveness, community, to care about each other, to not let each other down. So the more that each individual is able to do to contribute value, and the more value there is to share, and the fewer the people there are to share that with, the more each individual will receive. All right, well, super long video. I really appreciate your time in watching this. If you have any questions, go ahead and ask. Hopefully it's very interesting to you. Hopefully it's very inspiring, very motivating. And if you really think that you're the right fit, then make sure to continue your application with us. One of the steps is going to be for you to do a selfie video like this so that I can get to know you. So don't be afraid about being on camera. Maybe it's not something that you normally do. It is a common way for us to communicate as a team. We are all over the world. And so you may as well get started now. All right. Well, thanks again for your time and your attention. And I really look forward to hearing from you. All right. See ya.